What is up, traders? This is Stan Gluzman here with 7 Points Capital, bringing to you today's trader takeaways. So let's take a look at SPY today. We have a pretty tight range-bound day on pretty low volume. Looking at 1 minute chart, small downtrend, small uptrend, small downtrend. So nothing significant, but we did have a couple of stocks in play today. So in the morning I was watching pretty much two categories of stocks, obviously a couple of earnings plays. So I was watching PG. I really liked this gap down and a bounce, and I was actually eyeing this level right here for a short. So I started shorting in here, very small size, just a feeler position, just to see, how the stock reacts, and if it started to drop, I would be adding pops at the open. Unfortunately, it ripped, and I started the day off a little bit down, and then from here on I started scaling on the short side. Let me show you the executions. PG. So pre-market, obviously the stops don't work, so I couldn't put a stop. And the spread was pretty crazy, so I pretty much almost top ticked it, but had maybe quarter size or probably even less. And then here started scaling in, and then took some off, adding here, and I was thinking this triangle is going to break down, and we did for a second, double bottomed, and I just took it off. I made a little bit of money back, but this is actually my biggest loser for today. Another stock I was watching was Shop, right here. So another earnings play. We were trading this with Krishna. He actually called out this setup right here, this tight setup. This 139 was holding the bid. I tested some threw out a couple of orders to buy to sell. It was pretty easy to sell, so we decided to go long. Let me pull up the executions. So we got long right here, added a little bit, doubled up here, and then sold into strength. Had a good opportunity for a short here, but we left it alone. There was plenty of stocks to trade, so I wasn't really watching it anymore after the long. Another stock that I had it on watch in the morning, Pfizer, but I unfortunately didn't trade it. Nice rip and a dip. This could have been a really nice VWAP. Use VWAP as support for a dip buy and a big payday, but didn't trade it, unfortunately. The second category that I was watching was the low floater, the small cap runners. The main one, AWX. This is the hot topic, the flavor of the month and of the week. Yesterday started scaling in on the backside right here. A little bit too late, could have gotten this one, but I was just so cautious. I've gotten burned on the stock last week a couple times, so was very cautious, scaled in on the short side, and pretty much got out most of it at the close, and then held some overnight. Today I re-added again on the backside, somewhere in here. Let me pull up executions, AWX. So yeah, as you can see, re-added once we opened and started dropping. This was a really nice entry, a VWAP projection, but I missed it and chased it a little bit, shorted the bounce, and the tape was extremely heavy. The offers were heavy. Like every bounce was met with a lot of selling, so it was pretty safe to short weakness on this one, especially that yesterday it was just so weak. Every bounce was sold into, so very weak stock. Sold it, and I had no plans to cover for the rest of the day until I saw some grinding action. I noticed that 63, 64 here was soaking pretty decent size, and I was thinking probably short sellers are covering, or maybe one guy with a fat position is covering his short position, and but I was thinking the selling pressure should still be there. He sold, the gentleman that bought the float, he sold yesterday, I believe about 1 million shares, so he still has about 1 million shares to go, and I'm assuming today throughout the day he sold another 500,000. So I was thinking he probably has another 500,000 to sell. So whoever is covering their position, they probably don't have 500,000 shares to cover. So the selling pressure should overpower. So I did not want to cover, and we broke. So I was pretty happy to see that my thesis confirmed. But then we started grinding back up and reclaimed. So that's when I got a little worried and I covered half my position. I was looking to re-add, and then once we popped and rejected $4 on pretty good volume, I just re-added it, and we started drifting lower, and we double bottomed. I was like, oh no, not again. And we started squeezing again. So round 2, same thing. So I'm thinking if we breach this level here, $4, then I'll be out. Otherwise, I'll just take it off into the dip. And I got the first half out here, and then the second half I got out after market. So overall, one of my better trades for sure, both yesterday and today. I really like scaling into these and just holding them all day, knowing that there's going to be a lot of selling pressure. Like HMNY, there was a lot of dilution selling pressure. And here I know that there's going to be just one guy selling pretty much the whole float, or 2/3 of the float. So pretty nice trade. Next stock that I was trading today was ABIO. This one was on my watch because of the gap, and my spreadsheet, my research told me that this is a high conviction short. So I actually started shorting pre-market. I didn't trade this very well. I did have some size, so this ended up being my second best stock after AWX. I had some size, but I didn't trade it very well. I will show you the executions. So I started scaling into pops, and then took some off into the first pullback right before the market opened, and then shorted decent size, covered into the wash, and then right here into this pop is where I got majority of my size, covered most of it in here, and I was scaling in on the way up, risking the high of the day. My biggest pieces were here 22 and up, 22, 23, 24. We unfortunately just touched 22, and I didn't get even a share at 22. So I chased it a little bit. I didn't like the price that I got here, and I just kind of scalped it pretty much just because I chased it. Had we popped here and rejected, I would have taken some off and then let the rest go, but I took off most of it and then re-added some, and then just scalped this one and really underestimated. I pretty much used $1 as the support, and we broke $1 and dropped another 25 cents. So I missed out on a huge move, but I caught the predictable move right here, and that was a really nice trade. The next stock was, let's see, CRMD. This is another gapper from yesterday, actually runner from yesterday and today. We gapped down a little bit, and this is my VWAP projection setup. Normally I wouldn't even take this unless it's day 2, unless we're confirmed on the backside, and given that we traded much higher yesterday, now we're in the backside, it's much safer to short weakness, and this is weakness. So while we're staying below VWAP, this is weakness. Normally I would be shorting into big pops, and once we tried to break out and failed, I didn't mind getting in with decent size. Didn't have full size, maybe half size, but got in right here and then covered most of it into the wash. Let me just pull up the executions. CRMD. So started shorting in, and as soon as I began, it started to fade down. It was also SSR, so the offer was chasing it down. So it's pretty difficult to get good size, but as it was dropping, it became heavier and heavier, and it accelerated because the offers just started getting bigger and bigger. And then covered covered everything into the wash, and then on the bounce reshorted, thinking there's going to be round two, thinking that given that AWX dropped and the other one ABIO dropped, I thought that this one might test the lows at least, but we just kind of went sideways and started grinding, so I just took it off. That's CRMD. The next one was ATLC. This one, actually, my friend Jay Trader called this one out, told me to watch this one. It was running, and couldn't really find a good reason why it was running, so I shorted this one, this VWAP rejection right here. After we tried to bounce and failed, shorted, didn't have full size, and then as it started working, added a little bit more, and started paying myself into the wash. So it took the biggest piece right here. So a couple of prints, decent prints over here, and then took the rest over here. Started reshorting it again, but the spread was pretty wide, and it was I started doing some research, couldn't find any dilution or anything like that, so I was hesitant to go in with size, and I was like, you know what, if I see any strength, I'm gonna just take it off. So I took off most of it and then re-added some, covered for a very small scalp. Same thing here, just took it off when it broke VWAP, and probably did the right thing. Started grinding a little bit more. I saw a couple of guys on Twitter got short right here for a big drop, so that was a really nice trade. But I couldn't really bring myself to shorting here. Didn't really have a good reason to, other than just a technical triple top right here. But if there was fundamentally, like maybe if I could find some dilution or in the filings, I would have been scaling in here. And that's pretty much it. So these are my takeaways. Gonna be watching definitely WX tomorrow. Hopefully we get some borrow. In terms of earnings, we got Apple reporting. We have IQ reporting. The charts are a little bit slow right now, but we also have Pandora reporting. We also have ECA, NBR, Sprint. These are going to be some of the stocks on my watch tomorrow. So thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions, you can tweet at me. My Twitter handle is Chocana Trader. This is Stan Gluzman, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.